and welcome to Hooked on True Crime, the podcast where we unravel the clues, tie up the loose ends, and when no victim becomes a footnote to somebody else's story, with your host, Ali Downey.
And Sarah Downey.
Hello, Ali Downey, how's you?
I'm fabulous. I'm a little freaked out to be on this side.
Well, we changed sides.
Yeah. It's a little weird, but
it's like being in bed, isn't it? You like to get used to one side of the bed, and that's it, and you like that side. I've never been like that, though. I don't mind either side. But I like to be the one that's closest to the loo.
Well, you like to sprawl out and take up all of the bed, and then I end up with just this tiny little space at the side of the bed.
Such lies. And you know, it's the other way around. And you flick off the covers all the time off my feet.
I do that is true.
Anyways, let's move on to why we're here.
Yes, this is exciting because we're starting a new and hopefully long-running thing on the podcast this week. Some of the best received episodes by you guys, our lovely listeners, and our favourites to record were the Pierpoint family series. We love doing them. And Sarah recently had the ingenious idea of covering unsung heroes of true crime. Some of the people who work diligently behind the scenes to unravel and solve crimes.
Yeah, it's our favourite things to watch as well, isn't it?
Yes.
We've just watched the FBI profiling documentary on Prime, I think it was.
Yes, very good.
And that was great, so we might cover Ruth from that one, mightn't we?
I think we will, in fact. But with that in mind, I decided that our first series of Unsung Heroes should be about the life and work of the famous forensic pathologist, Sir Sidney Smith.
You like a forensic pathologist, don't you?
I bloody love a forensic pathologist.
And why do you like this one?
Because he was a very, very good forensic pathologist. Arguably better than Sir Bernard Spilsbury, who you know I also have a fondness for.
But Bernard Spilsbury had a certain way on the stand.
He did, yeah. He had an absolute arrogance.
He was a very good witness.
Excellent expert witness.
Yeah.
Now, Sidney Smith, though, worked in the early 20th century when forensic pathology was sort of an emerging science. A lot like Spilsbury. In fact, they worked together, I think, on at least one case.
Which one came first?
Ooh, Spilsbury was slightly before Sir Sidney Smith, but only by a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
But they are both thought of as sort of fathers of the field of forensics. And although he came from New Zealand originally, Sidney Smith did most of his work in the UK and in Egypt for a while.
In Egypt, wow.
Yeah, in Egypt. And it's going to be Egypt where we will go for the first of our two cases that we're going to talk about in this episode.
Okay. Is it a really old case?
No, this is World War I, early 1900s.
Okay.
Now, forensics today is a very wide field of study, which encapsulates numerous sciences from medical pathology and anthropology to forensic mycology and botany.
Yeah.
But in its early days, all there was forensic pathologists like Sir Sidney Smith and Bernard Spilsbury, who had to be well versed in everything. And they even acted more like detectives in many cases than just medical pathologists.
They were experts in the real sense of the words.
Yes.
Because there were so few of them.
Exactly, they really were. And we often think about the job of a forensic pathologist as being to work out how a victim was killed.
Right.
And that's not untrue. But it is, however, a huge oversimplification of what they do. It also overlooks what is often the first job of a forensic pathologist, which is working out who the victim was.
Oh, okay. So we've got some victims, we're not going to know who they are yet.
Yeah, both of the cases that we will be talking about this week show how important the identification of a victim can be, not just to solving the crime, but to how the investigation will even proceed.
Well, yeah, you need to know who they are so you know who they've interacted with, where they will usually come from, or what what their walk of life is, just for the interactions to find the murderer.
Exactly.
I'm assuming.
So as I said, our first case will be in Egypt, and it begins with a missing woman.
Okay, that's not good.
No, but before I get into it, I will say that although I had a good look, researching Egyptian criminal archives proved entirely beyond me.
Probably because they're in Egyptian.
Yes, so the only source for this case is the autobiography of Sir Sidney Smith himself, Mostly Murder, which is a brilliant book.
Yeah, you've had that a long time, haven't you?
I've had it a long time, and it's great. So Zenab, a roughly 40-year-old woman, went missing from a small village outside of Cairo. She was the first wife in her household, but was apparently not on good terms with her husband.
And what year was this, sorry?
This would have been 1917, 1918.
Okay.
And she disappeared after a serious argument with her husband.
Suspicious. But
Yeah.
she could have just left. She could have just left him.
She could have just left him. But Egyptian wives very rarely ran away. Mm-hmm. There was nowhere for them to go, and the sort of social stigma of running away was really bad.
Yeah, and I should imagine full control over the family's finances was in the Mal's hands at that point.
Absolutely, yes. Now, Zenab's relatives, including her brother Said, went to the police and told them that they suspected that Zenab had been murdered by her husband.
Okay, why? Why did they suspect that?
Because they'd never liked him. Not a great relationship.
Oh, it was not because there was abuse, or was there abuse as well?
There was a little bit of abuse, yes.
Okay.
But there wasn't any hard evidence to support the claim.
Just they hated him.
Yeah, just that they really didn't like him. But Zenab's disappearance in itself was sufficiently circumstantial for the police to bring the husband in for questioning and search his house.
Good.
But the search turned up nothing. Which is not actually surprising. It's very unusual, as I said, for an Egyptian wife to run away. There's nowhere they can run, and the disgrace for the rest of their lives would have been terrible.
And the clean-up back then would have been so much easier. If you had done something to someone, there was no DNA.
Also true, yes.
There was no, you could just bleach the floor. Nobody's going to know there was blood there originally.
Yep, and disposing of a body was not difficult. You could just chuck it in the Nile and the crocodiles would eat it.
Oh, gosh.
It's true, though, it happened.
Yeah.
So the police eventually released the husband due to lack of evidence.
Mm.
But Zenab's family were convinced that he had killed his wife and chopped up the body before taking the bits away in a sack.
Oh. Why were they convinced about that? Have they seen him?
I don't know.
Or had vivid imaginations?
Well, we'll see. Her family continued to search for Zenab's body, and her brother Said began a vigil by a disused well some distance away from the village.
This is a very strange behaviour that's going on. Do you think she's down the well?
Well, we'll see. This is a twisty-turny case.
Oh, okay.
Now, Said's vigil was a bit odd, because he was almost completely blind.
Well, that doesn't automatically mean he's not good at keeping an eye on... Well,
True.
No, that's the wrong turn of phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
He'll be able to hear anyone coming, at least.
Yeah, he absolutely would have.
And he drops in there.
Yeah. And he was seen for weeks, sitting near the well and watching. About 6 weeks, actually.
Well, not watching. Just listening.
Well, okay, keeping watch, yeah, listening.
Yeah.
After about 6 weeks, Syed announced that he was sure that Zenab's body was at the bottom of the well.
So this is just... Do you think this is just a sixth sense that he's got? Rather than... did he hear something happening?
I know it's not a sixth sense. And no, he didn't hear anything happening. We'll get there. Mm-hmm. The police were sceptical.
Yeah.
But they had the well drained, and sure enough, at the bottom was a dismembered corpse of a woman in several sacks, weighted down with stones.
Oh, no, we can't just get there then. I need to know how he knew.
We'll get to how he knew.
I'm not patient enough.
The features were unrecognisable, but all of Zenab's relatives and family swore that it was her body.
Whoa.
So
is she the only missing person in the village?
Yes. So, the police again arrested the husband, who claimed that the body from the well was not his wife Zenab.
But it's unrecognisable. So how do either parties know?
This time, in an attempt to find out the details of Zenab's murder, the police put an informant into the prison cell along with the husband.
Well, that's a very good idea.
It is. And the husband told the informant that he was sure that Zenab's family were trying to frame him for her murder. And that there was no way that the body from the well could be Zenab's.
Well, they are trying to frame him for the murder.
They are trying to frame him for the murder.
So that's true. I mean, it could be true that it's not her. We don't know yet. This is a case for Simpson to come along and solve, isn't it?
So the informant asks how he could be so sure, and the husband told him that he knew where Zenab's body was.
Her body?
Yes.
Well, this gets dark.
It was in the cesspit of the village mosque, where it had been dumped by the family of his second wife, who he claimed had murdered her.
Oh, his second wife, so he's got 2 wives.
He's got 3 or 4 wives.
He's got more than that.
Egypt.
Okay. Well, it's all fair enough. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Of the time and of the religion, that's great.
Yeah.
But why would one wife's family... They know they're going to marry more than one wife.
Why would one wife's family murder another wife?
Yeah.
Because Zenab was the first wife. She had considerably more power and influence than any of the other wives.
So was she liked by the other wives?
Yes,
generally
she was.
Speaking. Oh, okay.
No, she was. Now, obviously, none of what the informant learned would be admissible in court.
No.
But the police had gained a new lead, and they drained the cesspit.
Oh, gross.
And sure enough, they found another dismembered body of a woman in sacks.
Well, if that is that poor lady, what an awful, awful, awful thing to do to someone's body, especially someone you've once loved and I no doubt had children with, I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely. Now, like the first body, the remains were so decomposed that they were unrecognisable. But Zenab's family swore that couldn't be her.
Why couldn't it be her?
Well, they really couldn't swear anything else, having already sworn that the first body definitely was her.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because they're convinced, and there is something else going on here about why they're convinced.
Oh, there's a lot more going on here. Also, the family of the husband's second wife denied killing Zenab and dumping her in the cesspit.
Well, yeah. Well, why would they tell the husband about it anyway?
The husband claimed he'd seen them dumping the body.
Right, and he's still staying with the second wife. And,
yes.
And everything's all hunky-dory.
Yeah.
And not going to tell the police about it.
Yep.
This is very convoluted, this story. I don't know what's going on here.
So the police now had 2 unidentified bodies.
Mm.
When Zenab's blind brother Saeed learned that the police were trying to identify this second woman, he came forward with a friend of his with an explanation.
Yeah.
Saeed claimed that the second body from the cesspit had been stolen from the tomb of his friend, Foda, by the family of the husband to try and support his story about Zenab's death.
Oh, that's so confusing. Everybody's trying to claim these bodies.
Yes.
This is like the opposite of what normally happened.
The second body, they said, was the daughter of Foda, whose name was Fatima, and who had died around the same time that Zenab had gone missing. And her body had been stolen from her tomb.
And that is to hide the fact that Zenab had gone missing?
It was to support the idea that the body from the well wasn't Zenab. That's what the family claimed.
Well, why would it matter? It's still her body and someone's chopped her up into pieces.
One of them is her body. But which one?
But why would it matter?
Why would it matter?
Throw him in prison. Done.
Who, the husband?
Yeah.
But what if he hasn't done anything?
I'm pretty sure he has. He knows too much about this.
Well,
there's too much going on that he knows.
When the police confronted the husband with this new information, he claimed that the first body from the well must be Fatima's, put there by Zenab's family to frame him for the murder.
Oh. Okay. That could be true. Because they didn't kill her, they just kind of grave robbed her and
Yes.
But then chopped her up, which is a bit gross.
Very gross.
And then so they're pretty bad as well. But throw them all in prison.
Yeah. Saeed and Foda, though, both claimed that Fatima's body hadn't been stolen from the tomb until after the first body had been found in the well.
Oh my, I'm so confused. Right, okay, let's go back.
Well, the police were also becoming confused.
Oh, no, go back first.
Okay.
So they're saying that we found a body in the well.
Yes.
The body in the well is definitely Zainab's, according to the family.
Yes, according to the family, it's Zenab's.
Okay. But he doesn't know. Because it's not him. According to him, he didn't kill anyone. It's the family the family of his second wife killed Zenab, and they've chopped up the body and put it in the mosque.
In the cesspit.
Cesspit.
Yes.
What? I don't understand what's happened after that. I'm so confused. So now the family are saying that actually he did that to put them off the fact that the real body's in the well.
There's two families as well, don't forget.
Yeah, okay. So the family of Zenab are saying that he's done that to put people off thinking the real body of Zenab is in the well.
Yes.
I don't understand why they would do that. What does it matter? And then you've got another point of view, and explain to me the other point of view again, because I'm so confused. So they're thinking, no, he's saying that they've put the body there, the family themselves have put the body there.
Yes, he's saying the family have put the body there to frame him for Zenab's murder because there was no body. They've dumped a fake body in the well.
Oh, so this was before the body in the... No, okay. So he's saying they put the body in the well.
Yes.
But the real body's in the sewer.
Yes.
Oh, because they want to frame him for murder. Now I'm following exactly. So they've stuck a body in before anybody had found any bodies.
Yes.
Because they want someone to find a body, him to go to prison for her murder.
Exactly.
So now we've got an extra body. That actually does make a lot more sense.
Well, the police were also...
Sorry that took me so long, everybody, but, The
police were as confused as you are.
Yeah.
And so they called in Dr. Sidney Smith to try and confirm which, if either of the bodies, was Zenab's and which was Fatima's.
Okay.
And who was lying, the husband, the family, or everybody?
It has to be the family. But it has to be not... They're all lying. This is what it has to be. For my opinion, this is where I'm going to come out now. He's killed her, or the wife's family have killed her, or whatever, and put her in the sewer. I think he's probably done it, and he's blaming the second wife's family, but he's put her in the sewer. Right, then this other body turns up, and he's just like, whoa, that's not mine. I'm just going to admit to the fact that I've put... Because the body is in a sewer.
Yep.
He knew there was a body in the sewer. So I think he's killed her, put her in the sewer or cesspit of the mosque.
Yep.
And I think that does make sense, that they have tried to frame him. They know that he's done something to their darling daughter.
Yes.
They can't, nobody's believing it because they haven't found a body. But if they find a body, and also there's a blind kids sitting outside a well
for 6 weeks.
Absolutely convinced there's someone down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, before Sidney Smith even examined the bodies, he could already tell that the family were lying about at least one thing. Because both of the bodies still had some soft tissue attached to the bones. And both of the bodies showed signs of adiposer.
Water.
Yeah. Immersion in an anaerobic and damp environment which causes the flesh to change into gross, grey fatty acids.
Right, so how long does that take? I'm assuming it's the passage of time he's talking about.
Yeah, adiposer can start happening in a week or two, but the important thing is that if, as the family and Foda claimed, Fatima had been entombed for 6 weeks before her body was stolen, then in the Egyptian heat and dry air, decomposition would have already reduced her remains to pretty much just a skeleton before it was removed.
Oh, now this is going to get complicated now.
And adiposer would not have occurred.
So they're saying they snatched the body a lot earlier than that.
Yes.
I wonder how long it was. I want to know the comparison. I wonder if they're trying to frame him for something they did. Oh, I'm quite confused now.
Well,
because if they set this up,
the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they had a body of their daughter, say that they had something to do with that.
Yep.
Wouldn't they just put her in the well in the first place?
Well, in Zenab, they didn't have Zenab's body though.
No, but I was thinking maybe they're already trying to make it look like somebody else did it when they were involved, but that's I don't think that can be the case.
No, I don't think
I thought that through then and thought, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm so confused by this story. There are so many possibilities.
Yes. So let's go on to which body was which woman.
But first of all, does that mean then she was already dead? I'm assuming she was already dead.
Fatima died naturally and was buried in a tomb.
But they took her out straight away, or
but her
whoever
body was
did.
taken straight away by someone.
And then she sat in that water for weeks.
Yes. Possibly 6 weeks while the brother was keeping watch.
Okay, yeah.
So which body's which?
Yeah.
Sidney Smith started with the body recovered from the cesspit. The hair found with the body had braids in it, with beads pleated into them. Now, when women were buried in Egypt, their hair was untied and unadorned, suggesting that this was not Fatima.
No.
Also, the body had no pubic hair, and in Egypt, for some reason, generally only married women shaved their pubic hair, and unmarried women just let it grow.
Right.
Fatima had never been married. From the growth length of the bones, Sidney Smith estimated the age to be about 35 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Although neither body was complete, the height could be deduced from measuring the length of the leg bones, and it was calculated to be just under 5 feet. There were several decayed teeth in the jaw and several missing teeth from extractions long before death.
Yeah.
All this matched Zenab, who was 40 years old, 5 feet tall, and had recorded tooth extractions.
Yeah.
The body from the cesspit was undoubtedly Zenab's, which meant that the family had lied about it being Fatima's, and that the husband had told the truth, or at least some of it. Moving on.
I don't know. Oh, whoa.
Moving on to the body, which had come out of the well.
Yeah.
Height around 5 foot 4 inches, age under 30 years old, full set of teeth, which matched Fatima's. The hair was long and unadorned, exactly as it would have been prepared for burial.
Yeah.
And the pubic hair was unshaven. The body from the well was indeed Fatima, just like the husband had said.
Oh.
So, Sidney Smith had identified both of the bodies, but he could tell more from Zenab's body than just her identity. In Zenab's neck, both of the horns of the hyoid were badly dislocated, strongly suggesting manual strangulation as the cause of death.
Yeah. But who strangled her?
Well, Zenab's family had been proven to have lied about everything in an attempt to frame her husband for her murder. But before they admitted their lies, there was one more for Sidney Smith to disprove. They claimed that the braids of hair that were found with the remains in the well were not from that body, but had been cut from the head of a local girl and tossed in to try and fool the police into thinking that the body was Fatima's when it wasn't. But this was easy for Sidney Smith to disprove. By looking at the hair under a microscope, it was clear that the roots were still attached, so the hair had not been cut. Finally, Zenab's family admitted that everything they had said was a lie. Well, nearly everything.
Yeah.
After Zenab went missing, and her husband was released by the police, the family conspired with their friend Foda to remove the body of his recently deceased daughter from her tomb. Then they chopped her up and threw her down the disused well.
Oh my goodness, he consented to her being chopped up after death.
Zenab's brother Saeed then kept watch over the well for 6 weeks to make sure that nobody stumbled on the remains until they were completely unrecognisable.
Oh, goodness.
Then they lied to the police, telling them that Fatima's body was Zenab's.
Is this all to
frame the husband?
Frame the husband. So she's gone missing. They don't know what's happened to her.
They don't know, but they suspect. And they could be right. When Zenab's actual body was found in the cesspit, they had no choice but to deny that it was her, because they'd already lied about the body from the well. All so that Zenab's husband would be charged with her murder.
I think now would be the time to tell the truth. Just say, well, actually, this happened.
Well, this is when they told the truth.
Because they will probably, when the body was found.
Oh, yeah. Way before this.
I would think the police would, obviously it's still a crime, but the police would be more understanding of their plight. You're saying you weren't taking me seriously. I had to do something.
Yes.
And this chopping up of the body was agreed with the family of her.
Yes.
It's still awful.
Yeah. And before we judge this family as crazy for trying to deceive the police, there was one thing about which the family had told the truth. And the husband had lied. The husband had murdered Zenab.
Ah, so it wasn't the second wife's family
No,
that he
his
was trying to
story that
blame.
he had seen the second wife's family disposing of the body in the cesspit was disproved because they had an irrefutable alibi for the time that he said he saw them. So the only way he could have known where the body was if he had dumped it there himself.
That's not a great surprise. It's just the woven complicatedness of the story is just everyone trying to cover up for someone something or point to someone.
I know.
It's crazy.
Twisty and turny. So the husband was charged and convicted of the murder of Zenab and sentenced to life in prison. Her family were charged with desecrating a tomb and with obstructing justice. Although if you think about it, if they hadn't tried to frame the husband, he would never have had to reveal the place where Zenab's actual body was, and he might have gotten away with murder.
I mean, they did waste a lot of time and money doing it that way.
Yes.
But they did try, didn't they? They went to the police and said, look, she's gone missing, we think he's killed her. And they've done nothing, they've let him go.
And he might still have gotten away with murder if Sidney Smith hadn't been consulted and able to identify so conclusively both of the unrecognisable and incomplete bodies.
Yeah, all he's got is basically a butchered pieces of body and that have decayed.
Yeah, they're unrecognisable. So it shows how important identification can be.
Yeah. Well, especially in something so complicated.
Yes.
I bet there aren't that many of those kind of stories that are so convoluted.
They're so twisty and turny.
Oh, bizarre cover. I bet they wish they'd never done it. But then she wouldn't have been found, I suppose.
Exactly. She'd never have been found
They'd
if
have
they
to
hadn't
have
tried
picked
to
a
frame him.
place where they thought he would have left her.
Yeah.
And then said, I'm absolutely convinced the body's in there.
It's wild, isn't it?
I mean, what had happened if her body actually was in the well? And then they would have found two bodies in the well.
Oh, yeah.
Would he have been done as a serial
even
killer or something?
About that.
Perhaps he could have been done as a serial killer then. Why did he kill her anyway?
They were unhappy for a long time. He was an abusive husband. She was a rebellious wife.
But he's got 2 other wives, did you say?
3 other wives, I think.
He's got 3 other wives. Just go and live with the other wife for a bit.
Yeah.
It's the bonus of having lots of wives is surely you can just
There's no
float
bonus
about.
to having lots of wives.
No, I'm a handful, what can I say?
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't want anyone else to boss you about.
Now, before we go back in time slightly to another case where identifying the victim was of paramount importance, I'd also like to go back in time further and cover how Sidney Smith got into forensics and ended up in Egypt. Sidney Alfred Smith was born in the small town of Roxburgh in New Zealand on the 4th of August, 1883. Sidney's parents, James and Elizabeth, had both emigrated to New Zealand separately during the gold rush, and they settled in Otago. James was a labourer working on the new roads which were crisscrossing the country, and Elizabeth was a full-time mother. Elizabeth already had 6 children when she went to New Zealand, and after meeting James, the couple would have 5 more, making a truly huge family.
That's a massive family, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like the Waltons, I like to think.
Good night, LME.
Yeah.
Good night, Sydney.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, John Boy. Now, Sidney writes in his book, Mostly Murder, with fond affection about his childhood. He was educated first at Roxburgh Public School, along with all the other children in the small town. But there was no secondary school available, and as such, it was generally assumed that all of the children would take up a trade of some sort. They'd go into mining or labouring.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what all of Sidney's brothers had done before him.
Okay, well, this is going to be a really strange diversion from the norm, isn't it?
It is. The headmaster of his school, who I think was Mr. Riley, had inspired young Sidney with stories of travel and adventure, and instilled in him a drive to do more with his life than what was available.
I'm not entirely convinced he meant being with dead bodies a lot of the time.
Well, Sidney, at this point, just wanted to see more of the world than just New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he saw medicine as the master key that could open that door.
Yeah, definitely.
Not necessarily forensics, but medicine.
Well paid, very interesting.
Yep. People always wanted doctors.
Yeah.
A medical degree, though, for a young man from Roxburgh, would not be an easy thing to achieve. The local school had offered no lessons in science or biology, and there was no secondary school close enough for Sidney to attend, let alone one that his family could afford.
Oh dear. So what are they going to do?
Well,
Would he have to go away?
Sidney began continuing his education on his own. He managed to get a job as an apprentice to a local chemist, and although the work taught him very little in itself, it gave Sidney access to medical journals and textbooks, which he read with relish.
That's brilliant.
Another piece of good luck came his way with a gold dredging boom, which broke out in the district when the precious metal was found in a river. Sidney had no time or inclination to go panning for gold in rivers himself, but he did manage to make a small fortune buying and selling shares in the numerous mining companies which popped up to take advantage of the boom.
Oh, clever boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And before the boom declined, along with the share prices, Sidney cashed out and banked a substantial amount of money for a 17-year-old. Not long after this, the chemist where he was working closed, but this proved to be an opportunity for Sidney rather than a setback. He'd saved enough money to move to the capital of the district, Dunedin, or Dunedin.
Mm-hmm.
Here, he quickly got another job, assisting a chemist, but more importantly, he was able to afford tuition in the bigger city.
Brilliant, yeah. It's just, he's decided he wants to do something. He's going to do everything he can to get there.
Eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
He began studying for the university entrance exams while still working, and soon became a qualified pharmacist and passed the exams for the University of New Zealand's Faculty of Science.
Brilliant. Pharmacy will really help as well, won't it? So
yeah,
it's all good. He's got a leg up already.
Yep. At uni, he took first year chemistry, physics, and biology, and attained sufficient passes to allow him to switch to medicine. Like all young men in the British Empire, Sidney knew that the university with the best medical college in the entire world at the time was Edinburgh, in Scotland.
Okay. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
All right.
Sidney managed to win a scholarship to study zoology and botany in Edinburgh, but was again later able to switch to his desired study of medicine. He was an excellent student, and in 1912 he graduated with an MB, which is a Bachelor of Medicine, and a CHB, which is a Bachelor of Surgery, both with first-class honours.
Wow.
After a year spent doing general practice, which quickly taught him that he was not cut out for that field of medicine.
Fair enough. That's good, that's what you want.
He was an excellent diagnostician, but he cared too much about the patients that he treated, and he spent many sleepless nights thinking about the patients who were beyond the help of medical science.
Yeah, well that's why you've got to do your internships and you've got to, do these things and practice and see what you like.
Yeah.
Because medicine is for you, but there are so many different branches of it.
Yeah.
You'll find the thing that really suits you the best. And yeah, I can understand that, getting really emotionally attached to people.
Yeah.
His current career, well, what he's doing that you told us about,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that so much.
No, very rarely coming across live people.
And very rarely, I imagine, talking directly to the families.
Very rarely, yeah. But he also still had his postgraduate research thesis to write. Sidney had planned to do this in the field of ophthalmology, but the dean of the university, Dr. Harvey Littlejohn, convinced the now 30-year-old Sidney Smith to become an assistant in his department instead. And so it was that Dr. Sidney Smith almost accidentally joined the Department of Forensic Medicine at Edinburgh University and stumbled into forensic pathology.
Brilliant. No, how interesting. I do think it's a fascinating field, a really fascinating. I mean, it's not for everybody.
No, but
You've got to have quite strong guts, I think.
Very strong guts. Sometimes,
but all of medicine's like that, really.
Sometimes too strong. The wee anecdote at the end. Now, Edinburgh University had one of, if not the best, forensic medicine department in the UK. Although, if I'm honest, Great Britain had played catch-up in the field, which had really been pioneered in France and Germany. But once it got going here, the catch-up was quick. And many of the names thought of as the fathers of forensics came through Edinburgh University. Sidney Smith, Henry Littlejohn, Harvey Littlejohn, Professor Anthony Boussutil, and Dr. Joseph Bell.
Anthony Boussutil.
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 Yes. For 2 years, while simultaneously working on his thesis, Dr. Sidney Smith worked alongside Sir Harvey Littlejohn in the Forensic Medicine Department of Edinburgh University. Here he worked on numerous cases. But the case I'd like to talk about next is the first in which Dr. Smith took the lead and worked essentially by himself, without Harvey Littlejohn looking over his shoulder.
Oh, how exciting. And scary. That must be terrifying.
Yeah.
You've got a lot riding on your shoulders. I mean, and it's not as terrifying as the first time you do heart surgery, I imagine. It's probably a bit slower pace than that, but still a lot of responsibility to get it right.
Yes. This case was known as the Hopeton Quarry murder. On Sunday, the 8th of June 1913, two ploughmen were out for a stroll in South Queensferry in the Scottish Midlands, just west of Edinburgh.
Yeah, I've been there.
You have been there?
I had a great Cullen skink there.
You did?
Although this is going to really put me off the Cullen skink, I reckon, now.
Why?
Although I don't think anything could, to be fair.
No.
How gruesome is this?
This won't put you off Cullen skink. As they were passing a pair of disused quarries, they saw something floating on the surface of the water in the pit. At first, they assumed it was a scarecrow from one of the nearby fields which some local rascals had chucked in as a joke.
Yeah.
But looking closer, they saw that it was something far more sinister.
It's never a scarecrow. It's never a shop dummy. It's never those things.
No. It looked like two small bodies tied together with cord.
Oh. How small?
Small.
Are we talking children?
We're talking small, yeah.
Ooh.
The ploughmen pulled the bodies to the bank of the quarry with a long branch, but when they tried to get them out of the water, the cord holding them together broke. They could see clearly now, though, that it was indeed two small bodies, so they fetched the police, who came and pulled the bodies out.
No.
The bodies had obviously been in the quarry under the water for a long time. The features were unrecognisable due to decomposition and adiposer. The local doctor said that an autopsy would be a waste of time given the advanced stage of decomposition. But the Procurator Fiscal for West Lothian disagreed, so the bodies were taken to the mortuary at Linlithgow, and Harvey Littlejohn and Sidney Smith were called to do a post-mortem examination.
I hope they got to stay in Linlithgow. Linlithgow's beautiful.
They did get to stay in Linlithgow. We do like Linlithgow, don't we?
No, I would love Linlithgow. It's so pretty. But also probably not the right time to be giving tourism advice. It's very serious. How awful. So little children?
Little children.
Very little.
Very little children.
Is he going to age them for us?
Yes, he will. Dr. Smith points out quite rightly in his book Mostly Murder that far from a post-mortem being a waste of time due to the state of the remains, in fact, it made the autopsy even more important, since it would be the only chance of identifying the bodies.
And they were tied together, you said, didn't you?
Yes, tied together with cord.
So it's not a natural death there?
No.
Or, well, at least not a natural disposal of bodies.
No.
No, not that you can have a natural disposal of bodies, but you know what I mean. There's a suspicion because they've been disposed in that way.
Yeah. Smith began with the clothing that the two bodies were dressed in, which were very similar, although also very rotted from the extended time underwater in the quarry.
These twins.
No, not twins. They were very different ages. Well, slightly different ages. Both bodies had been wearing large shirts, stocking trousers with garters under the knees and boots. As Sidney Smith carefully removed the tattered clothing, he noticed a faded stamp imprinted on one of the shirts. It was the stamp of a poorhouse at Dysart in Fife. The bodies themselves were in a state of near complete adiposer. This is a process where the natural progress of decomposition is actually halted when body fats undergo hydrolysis and they're converted into a viscous grey, sludgy compound of fatty acids and glycerin. But it only occurs in wet and oxygen-deprived environments like bogs, quarries and deep water.
Yeah. And I'm assuming it takes quite a while for that to happen.
It can do, yeah. It can start after sort of a week or two, but it's a slow process. The adipocer had preserved the basic shape of the bodies, but any identifiable soft tissue had been destroyed. In fact, it wasn't until Sidney Smith cut into the bodies that he even learned that both of them were male.
How do you tell that from cutting? Oh,
Well, you'll find male bits.
yeah, down there.
Yeah.
So that's all still...
It's still there, it's just under a big grey, sludgy...
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does help to sort of keep, everything from completely decaying.
Internally, adipocer's great. It preserves the internal organs.
But externally,
Externally,
it's gone, everything's
terrible.
gone.
Yeah. From the progression of the adipocer in the environment of the quarry, he estimated that the bodies had been in the water for about 18 months, and not longer than 2 years. Measurements of the skeletons gave heights of 3 feet 2 inches and 3 feet 7.5 inches. Examining the teeth gave approximate ages of 4 and 7 years old.
Oh. Dear hearts, I've already had a hard life.
They had a really hard life. The heads were mostly bare, but both boys had tufts of short brown hair on the back of the scalp, which looked as though it had been recently cut.
They're in the poorhouse anyway, aren't they? So they regularly would have shaved their hair back, so lice and things like that, to keep control of that. Oh.
Now, adipocer destroys tissues on the surface, but as I said, it also acts to preserve internal organs from decomposition. And the stomach contents of both boys were still identifiable even after more than 18 months under the water in the quarry.
That is actually incredible. I think because we hear about so many bodies that are brought up from the sea, and then you have other things eating the bodies, basically, feeding on the bodies, so you never get such preservation of the interior, all the organs, for example, do you?
No.
So it's
amazing.
Quite impressive, really.
Sidney Smith found peas, leeks, potatoes, turnip and barley.
Turnip,
and
you mean Swede, don't you?
Real turnip. Scottish turnip, which is turnip.
No, Scottish turnip is Swede.
It's turnip.
Anything forward that's red is a Swede, or orange and yellow.
These are basically all the ingredients, though, of a traditional Scotch broth.
Turnip's white. Just saying.
Not in Scotland. Sidney Smith estimated from the amount of digestion that the meal would have been consumed about an hour before their deaths.
No, it just sounds like a poorhouse meal, though, doesn't it? It's all cheap ingredients.
Very cheap ingredients, but it's what most people were eating in Scotland, if I'm honest. If you're not in a big city, crofters, farmers, it's what everyone ate.
Yeah.
The older boy had a wound on the back of his scalp, but it was impossible to tell if this had been caused before or after his death. Both boys had water in their lungs, which suggested that they could have been alive when they went into the quarry water.
Surely it's the only way, isn't it, to get water in your lungs?
It's not conclusive because they've been down there for so long.
Right, okay, so there might have been sort of...
In 18 months,
yeah,
water could have got into the lungs naturally. Yeah. It's not impossible. Although he was unable to give a definite cause of death, Sidney Smith was able to tell the police a great deal about the two unidentified bodies. Despite the advanced stage of decomposition, their genders, their heights, their ages, their hair colour, and that it had been cut shortly before they died, what they'd eaten for their last meal about an hour before death, and roughly when that death had occurred.
Yeah, and you can say, even though they could have drowned, which could have been a natural thing, they're tied together.
Yes.
The chances of that being natural, they've decided to tie themselves together and go for a swim in the quarry, very remote.
Yeah, infinitesimally small. They were also, remember, wearing clothes which bore the stamp of the Dysart poorhouse.
Yeah. And that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That in itself is a brilliant clue.
Yeah. Sidney Smith had also visited the quarry to test the environment that the bodies had been in, And given how far away it was from any major pathways, he estimated that the boys would have probably walked to the quarry before being killed. They weren't carried there.
No, so they weren't dead beforehand.
No, meaning that they likely went there with someone that they knew quite well, a member of the family or somebody who they trusted.
Mm.
The police immediately began looking into missing children from around 18 months before the bodies were discovered.
Yeah.
And they quickly came across 2 young boys who went missing in November of 1911, almost exactly 18 months before. They were William and John Higgins. They were the right age. They went missing at the right time, and they had stayed for a time at the Dysart poorhouse.
Yeah.
They were the sons of a man named Patrick Higgins, who had been a soldier in the Scottish Rifles for 6 years and had served in India before being discharged on some medical ground. When he returned to Scotland, Patrick found work at the Winchborough Brickworks and soon married a lassie called Bridget Johnson. William was born in December of 1904 and John followed in August of 1907. Unfortunately, Patrick was an abusive alcoholic who drank heavily and spent all of his small paychecks on booze.
Probably not that rare.
No, not that rare.
Not that I'm tarring Scotland with the same brush.
Wow,
But,
yeah. Brutal.
But we do like a drinky poops.
He also neglected his family, and Bridget was left to basically raise the boys with the help of her family until her untimely death
Oh no.
at the age of just 33 years old in 1910.
What of do we know?
No. His wife's tragic death meant little to Patrick, and it certainly didn't mean any kind of change to his selfish lifestyle. The boys were neglected until the local parish intervened and they were taken into the care of Dysart Poorhouse. Patrick refused to pay the small fee for the boys' care and was charged with neglect and jailed for 2 months.
Oh dear, you should have got more than 2 months. Not wanting to pay. It's only a
2
small
months.
fee, you said.
Yeah,
Prefer to spend it on booze and pay for his boys. Sad.
In August of 1911, Patrick was released from jail and made to come to the Dysart Poorhouse and take his sons back into his care if he wasn't willing to pay for them. He had William and John lodged in Broxburn with a widow named Elizabeth Hines, who he had known since his childhood. He promised to pay her for the boys' upkeep, but
he didn't.
unsurprisingly, he never gave Miss Hines a penny.
No.
Patrick himself lived in a hut at the brickworks where he worked, in a level of squalor and poverty that was surprising even for the early 1900s.
Really? Just chosen that?
Yeah. And there was also no need for it. Patrick made about 25 or 26 shillings a week, which is a good wage.
Yeah. But he's spending it on booze.
He drank it all.
And then you don't care where you sleep, do you? If
No.
you're drunk all the time.
In his one-room, drafty hut that he slept in, he cooked his few meals over a fire on the flat part of a spade or in the metal bucket that he also used for work.
Okay, he's inventive, I suppose.
Well, after many weeks of not being paid, Miss Hines finally reported Patrick to the local inspector of the poor, who warned him that if he didn't pay for his son's upkeep, he would face further jail time.
This is such irony going on. So we've got an inspector of the poor who goes around trying to make you pay for things.
Yes.
Okay.
Patrick took William and John from Miss Hines' house and tried to get them into a local poorhouse, but he was unwilling even to pay the small fee that the poorhouse charged. Then, on a dark and stormy night in early November, William and John disappeared.
So that his daddy did it.
Yes.
Oh dear.
The police arrested Patrick a few days after they got the autopsy results from Dr. Sidney Smith. They held him in custody while they continued their investigations. When questioned, Patrick told police that he had no idea where his 2 sons, William and John, were, and that he hadn't seen them since the night they disappeared in November of 1911. Police, though, soon found many locals who Patrick had told very different stories about the boys' fate. Some of these men had also likely seen Patrick with William and John the day they vanished.
Goodness.
One of these men was a miner called Hugh Shields, who had seen Patrick walking out of Winchborough with the two boys, holding the hand of the younger boy, John, in the evening.
Oh, so literally just led him to his death. How awful.
They were heading east in the direction of Hopeton Quarries. When Hugh Shields saw Patrick the next day in a pub, he asked about the boys, and Patrick told him they were all right now and on their way to Canada.
Well, I suppose it would be heaven for them,
It would have,
if they were on the way to Canada, poor little mites.
We'll get to one of the saddest things, but this is, for the boys, this is sadder than you can believe.
Yeah.
Another miner, James Daly, also saw the two boys with Patrick that fateful night. He said, "'Twas on a Monday or a Tuesday, 'tween 7 and 8 p.m. He was walking out to Winchborough with the lads, holding the younger one by the hond."
Hand, for those of us who don't speak Scottish.
Aye, the hond. The hond. When Patrick met James a few days later, he told him the story that he would tell almost everyone else. He claimed to have caught the 8:30 p.m. train into Edinburgh, and on the train had met two ladies, one of whom had taken a fancy to John and offered to take him into her care. Patrick had told her that the boys were near inseparable since their mother had died, and moved by the story, the other lady had offered to care for William.
What? So he just gave his kids away? Well, that would have been a better fate for them.
That would have been a much better fate for him.
Absolutely, but even so, I mean, surely did that happen back then? People just liked the look of a child and took them in?
No. But this was the story that Patrick told almost everyone, except on nights when he was very, very drunk.
Which was often.
When he was heard saying that the boys had gone to glory.
Not Canada then?
Not Canada, no. Police retraced the walk that Patrick would have taken that night with William and John, and they even found a crofter's wife on the route who remembered giving a man and two boys shelter from the storm for a few hours. As well as shelter from the rain and the wind, she had also given the two boys, who looked thin and neglected, a meal of Scotch broth before they left on their way.
That's where their stomach contents came from then.
Exactly. The only person who Patrick told even a modicum of the truth was Miss Higgins, who had cared for the boys for some time and had pestered Patrick for a more believable explanation for their sudden disappearance. Patrick told her that he had taken them out for a walk in the hills and William and John had both drowned in an accident.
And did she not report that?
No, she didn't.
She believed it, did she? They both drowned.
I don't know if she believed it. Most of this testimony, with the exception of maybe Miss Higgins, is very circumstantial. However, the police did have one piece of hard and irrefutable evidence. A length of window cord was recovered from Patrick's squalid little hovel where he slept. And although the cord the boys had been tied with was extremely degraded, Sidney Smith was able to say with confidence that it was the same as the cord that they'd tied them up with. So Patrick Higgins was charged with the murder of his two sons, William and John.
Good.
The trial began in September 1913 at the High Court of Judiciary in Edinburgh before Judge Lord Johnston. By the time the trial took place, Patrick Higgins had changed his story somewhat. He now admitted to killing his two sons, William and John, by drowning them in the Hopeton Quarry, but he pled not guilty by the special defence that he was insane and therefore not responsible for his actions.
Oh, insanity plea. Worth a try, I guess.
Yeah.
Most people would be insane if they did something like that. Not him, though.
He claimed to have gone up to the quarry with the boys in the dark of evening in the pouring rain and wind on a simple walk. Then, when looking into the deep dark water, he'd been overcome by the depressing state of his life. He was unable to care for himself, let alone William and John. He had no help, no family. Even the poorhouse had refused to take the boys in, unless he paid for their upkeep with the money which he needed to fuel his alcoholism.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They're your kids.
He says he remembers thinking that it would be better if the boys were dead than in his care. He tied them together with the length of cord which he had inexplicably brought with him on this simple walk.
Yeah, well, you know.
Then...
You never know when you're going to get mad.
Then after tying a few rocks to them, he dropped them as far out in the quarry as he could wade.
What, alive?
Yes.
Not even sort of tried to put them out?
No, they were alive when they went in the water.
Oh.
To support his insanity plea, he claimed a history of epileptic fits and blackouts throughout his life.
I wish that upon him. I don't wish that on anyone, but I hope that has actually got a little bit, a modicum of truth to it.
I don't know if
I hope he did suffer a little bit, but at least he's going to suffer now, hopefully.
But the Crown prosecution were ready to dispute the plea of insanity anyway, in a number of ways. They had numerous medical experts who had examined Patrick. They had testified that they found no evidence of epilepsy or mental illness and thought him fully responsible for his actions.
Yeah.
One of these doctors was Harvey Littlejohn, Sidney Smith's partner at the Forensic Medicine Department. Littlejohn was also the chief surgeon for the Edinburgh Police, and he testified that Patrick Higgins was completely sane.
Mm.
Possibly,
yes, although in modern day cases, you never think about it, do you? Do they know each other? You think, oh, the police are working together, and maybe if they're covering something up, they might be covering something up. I don't think I've ever thought, is the forensic pathologist working with the police, psychologist to tell you whether or not someone's sane or not. I mean, it's possible that could happen, isn't it?
It's not impossible.
So I suppose that's probably these days worked against a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got some sort of...
I can see the defence.
Yeah, I can see it working or something. But yeah, obviously this man needs to... was there death penalty?
There is the death penalty.
Yeah, wow.
Now, possibly of greater importance to the jury was the cord that was used to tie the boys up and weigh them down.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that Patrick had picked up at the scene when he was in the grip of temporary madness.
No, of course not.
Or depression. He'd cut it in his hut and brought it with him that night.
And cut it to size kind of thing.
Yes.
It's just,
Which suggested a level of premeditation that was not consistent with temporary insanity.
No, or being completely drunk, because
you would
sober up enough on that walk, wouldn't you, to
yes.
think, I'm not doing this. That's ridiculous, And mind you, we all have funny ideas when we're drunk. But I don't think I've ever planned to murder anyone. So
no,
definitely not my children.
Before we get to the inevitable verdict of the trial, another thing which came to light during the trial, which I think adds a deeper level of tragedy to the murders, was that the family of William and John's dead mother, Bridget Johnson, testified that they would have been happy to care for the boys. And indeed, they'd offered more than once. However, Patrick had always refused.
Why had he refused? It can't be pride at this stage, can it?
Well, I can't imagine why he would do it except out of vindictive pride. His relationship with Bridget hadn't been a happy one, and he had never liked or gotten on with her family, who unsurprisingly hadn't liked the way he treated Bridget. But I also can't help but feel that if someone had just stepped in and taken those boys away from him, then there was an extended family there, willing and able to give them the care and love that they deserved, and they wouldn't have ended up the way they did.
Oh no, that's terrible. But I can't imagine it being pride. It must be like some sort of vindictive nature he's got rather than pride, because he's not living a very proud life, is
no,
he?
He's not.
He's living all his mistakes in the full glare of everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, ragingly drunk all the time. But maybe he thinks that's a status thing. He's got this extra money. He can do that.
Do what he wants.
Who knows where he's living? I guess nobody really knows.
No, he doesn't have a technical address. The Brick House at Winchborough.
Goodness.
The jury deliberated for about 2 hours before bringing back a verdict of guilty, and Judge Lord Johnson passed a sentence of death upon Patrick Higgins for the murder of William and John.
Yeah, I can't feel sad about that.
Nope, me neither. So in Edinburgh Jail, on the 2nd of October 1913, at 8 a.m, Patrick Higgins was hanged by John Ellis.
No, good.
Who we've talked about before.
We have.
Sidney Smith went to watch the execution. After saying a prayer, the prison priest, Canon Stewart, said, "Into thy hands I commend my spirit." The condemned man began to reply, "The Lord Jesus receipt," but that's as far as he got.
No.
Because Ellis pulled the lever and he dropped through the trapdoor to his death.
Good.
This was obviously a tragic case.
It's horrific. When there was an alternative, baby.
Yeah, it's really sad.
There was an alternative.
But it would never have been solved without the meticulous and dedicated work of the forensic pathologist Dr. Sidney Smith. However, it's also possible to be too clinical in your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And there is one last crime which befell William and John Higgins. And it was actually done by Sidney Smith and Harvey Littlejohn.
Oh, what did they do?
The two pathologists thought that the remains of William and John were incredible examples of the effects of adipocere on a body. So following the conclusion of the case, they pinched significant portions of the remains of both boys for demonstrative purposes teaching at Edinburgh University.
Oh. If it's really stealing though, when they hadn't sort of tied them to a home yet?
They had extended family.
Yeah, but they didn't know that until
the trial. It was after the trial when they pinched them.
Oh.
This included both of the boys' heads, one arm, one leg, and all of the internal organs.
And were the family upset about this? Did they know about it?
This was done without the knowledge or consent of the boys' family.
Did the boys have a burial?
They were told, the family at the time, that the boys' bodies were to be buried in a local cemetery. And when they attended the funeral, they thought that all of both of the boys' bodies were in the coffins.
Okay.
The boys...
But the worst things have happened to those boys at this point anyway, so...
The boys' unburied remains were kept at the Edinburgh University's Forensic Medicine Museum until 2009, when they were finally placed in the graves with the rest of their remains at the request of the living relatives.
Well, I don't know what to say to that. That's also wrong.
It is.
But what a teaching tool that would have been for a long time also.
It was, yes.
Maybe if they could have explained
to the
family.
I think if they just asked the family, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But
especially with all the help that they've given them.
But they literally just pinched them.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose things were different then as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
People were out robbing graves and things at that time, and they were desperate for teaching aids.
They really were.
In the form of bodies. So. Oh, Edinburgh's known for that.
It is.
Burke and Hare.
So, Sidney Smith obtained his doctorate in 1914 with a gold medal, and he also won the Allison Prize for his thesis on forensic medicine.
Mm. He got a gold medal?
He got a gold medal.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
I don't think so. He still had, though, his boyhood desire to see the world, and so he soon took up a position with the Egyptian authorities as head of the medical legal department in Cairo.
And that's where we found our
Yes.
first case.
Here he would soon set up the most advanced forensic laboratory in the world and become renowned for his abilities of deduction and for his pioneering work in ballistics. Mm. But that is what we will start with in next week's episode.
Brilliant. What cases you've had. They're terribly sad, aren't they? Both those cases.
Yeah, they're horrible.
But that first case was so completely bizarre.
I know. What a twisty-turny case.
So bizarre, yeah. I got lost at least once during that. I was thinking, what are they trying to prove? Just go back here and rethink this? Yeah, weird. Very weird. So, have you got a Scottish word of the week for me this week?
I do. Clamjamphrie.
Oh, that's brilliant. I don't know what it is, but I really like it.
Clamjamphrie.
Clamjamphrie. Give me a clue.
We need to sort out the clamjamphrie in the garage. Mess or rubbish. Jumble.
Yeah. There's a jumble in there a little bit. Not anymore. We
sorted it. Yeah.
We did the clamjamphrie before.
Yeah. Clamjamphrie.
I really like that. It's really lovely. I wonder why.
It's nice to see.
Clamjamphrie. It's a bit of a clamjamphrie.
Yeah, it was.
Bit of a jumble. Jumble's a good word as well, though, isn't it? Jumble.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
You're absolutely very welcome. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
This is probably a long one, so we should just round up, I think. Rather than natter like we normally do. But
CrimeCon.
Hooked.
Code hooked. 10% off.
And join us next week for more on our hero series.
Yes, we'll probably be talking about ballistics in some way.
I like a bit of ballistics. You prove to me what you can prove from it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
There's been lots of sort of arguments
Yes.
against certain parts of ballistics.
Slight scepticism.
Okay, well, we will be doing something in Egypt.
Yes.
So watch this space.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we very much hope to see you next crime.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm not doing it. We'll put music on this one. And you're not. No.
Oh.
Bye.